Right. So, very good morning and warm greetings for this weekend current affairs. So, so offline good, so online by one, they're getting joined. Okay. So, before getting into any doubts, clarifications of last sessions, anything? Because again, of course, always I do remember, and I'll make you to remember the thing is that repetition is infallible technique of memory. Okay, whatever the notes you are writing in the classroom or on online, see that it will be referred. Okay, advisable is every day at least 5 to 10 minutes. Have a glancing is important. The familiarity, because it was the next week or next month or after the month, nearly 50% of the things will get repeated or some relevancy. So that is a reinforcement. Then without by-hearting anything, you can recollect the things at the time of examinations. Okay, it will be overall comprehensive mode. So revision, revision, revision. Don't bother about quantity, right? The quality that matters. Out of 10 pages, you read only one page, let it be so. That one page, be thorough with that, if at all. Or the topics which you have to be. Okay? Right. Now let's back to the things. This week, and show that the political heat is on very much. And the opposition, of course, with its new grouping of India, right? Of course, now subject to judicial interpretation, we have to say that how far you are using the country name India. What is the full form of India? Hmm? Also important, right? So may or may not ask in the examination. Indian, right? Hmm. National development or developmental? I for inclusive alliances. Right. So the Congress-led team introduced the no confidence motion against the government. There's a word here in the parliament. And the reason, if you know this, right, is in Manipur, the government is, the opposition feel that is not properly responding, that too on time, and that too the Prime Minister Modi is maintaining absolute silence. So, something to be done. So they've taken this motion as a political tool, though they know pretty well that it's not going to be get the S. Okay? But still, to prompt discussion, the opposition parties adopted this as a tool. And now the wording is there. What is actually this no confidence motion, trust vote will come. And before that, here the word in this you introduced in the parliament. Just I will say this, in the parliament means, is it Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha or both Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? Parliament means both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now that bill introduced in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? Lok Sabha. Can it be introduced in Rajya Sabha? Because bills can be introduced in either house, except money bills. Right? That's what generally we'll read it. Money bills first introduced should be in Lok Sabha, then sent to the Rajya Sabha. Within 14 days, the approval is required. Ordinary bills can be introduced in either house. Constitutional amendment also can be introduced in either house. Okay? Overall consent of the both houses is required. That's what a general thing that we learn about it. Now that no confidence motion, related. When it says this is the parliament, is it in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha? First, any criteria is there? Yeah, here we got answer. Dilip and Preeti mentioned only in Lok Sabha. Dilip, Lok Sabha, both. Okay, different things it is concerned, right? Yeah, good. Good enough. The answers. Remember, only in Lok Sabha. And Lok Sabha has an exclusive power. Here, Rajya Sabha has no role at all. Please. Rajya Sabha has no role. If Lok Sabha passed, that deemed to be passed by the parliament itself. It will neither be introduced in this. Even after Lok Sabha passed, it will not go to Rajya Sabha. This is an exclusive domain of Lok Sabha. Okay, that's the most important point that you have to keep in mind. It's an exclusive domain of, or exclusive power of Lok Sabha. Exclusive implies Rajya Sabha is not at all having it. Nothing to do virtually. Okay. So, what it's all about when we say this, the confidence motion. Last time in different contests we said we have the confidence motion, no confidence motion, right? Trust to vote, trust motion or trust vote we call it. Generally, these are the three things in relevancy appears. When government itself wanted to prove its majority on the floor of the house, then we called it as a confidence. Okay. Generally, after elections, the president say appoints the prime minister, and prime minister has to prove his majority in the Lok Sabha. State level, the governor appoints the CM. CM has to prove its majority in the Lok Sabha. Now and then, the political issues, they feel that yes, we have the majority. They themselves introduce and prove their majority. So the government itself introduced, yes, we are having confidence. Because in a parliamentary system, government runs, okay, or the prime minister and ministers will continue in office till they enjoy majority support in the lower house. And at the central level, it is the Lok Sabha. Nothing to do with the second house. State level assembly. Nothing to do with the council, even if it is there. There nothing to do with Rajya Sabha. Okay. What is that principle is called? All the ministers in toto, responsible for their do's and don'ts to the Lok Sabha. Okay. So if you look at the Constitution, Article 75 is concerned with that. And especially out of this clause, 75.3 specifically looked into this issue. Okay, stating that no doubt the president will appoint the prime minister, and an advice of the prime minister, president will appoint other ministers. That's the first part. Then followed by this, they will continue. One is the question mark. And all the ministers in toto responsible to the Lok Sabha. That's called collective responsibility. From that point, this originated. Though the word confidence, no confidence, nothing mentioned in the Constitution, from the principle of collective responsibility, you got this. For sake of it, okay, I'll show you this. There's an Article 75 as it is. The Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President. That is, President is the concern. Whereas other ministers shall be appointed by the President on the advice. So here the point is very clear is, President is nominal, Prime Minister is real when you talk it. Why it is happening in India is simple is the system that we adopted. Okay, the system. The system we call is parliamentary form of government. So in the parliamentary form of government, the collective responsibility is the crucial. So this 375(3), or the Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the House of the People. What is the House of People? It is nothing but the English version of Lok Sabha. Okay. Only to the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha has complete power, not to the entire thing. That means only Lok Sabha can question them. Only Lok Sabha can remove them. So from that point, it generates like this. The reason why Rajya Sabha has no power to remove the ministers or the Council of Ministers into it. Here a point also you have to remember is, if one minister removed by the president and advice of prime minister, nothing is going to happen. But reverse happen. Prime minister don't want. Lok Sabha removed one minister, entire ministry has to resign. That is the principle of collective responsibility. And also last time we remembered when the motion of thanks to the presidential address failed in the Lok Sabha, entire ministry has to resign. Even a token cut out of lakhs of crores of rupees budget, a 1 rupee reduced, entire ministry has to resign. So wherein all the ministers in toto responsible for their do's and don'ts to the Lok Sabha, House of People. The reason why in the beginning I said it's an exclusive power, the domain of the Lok Sabha, nothing to do. So they will introduce in Lok Sabha only, and it will pass in the Lok Sabha by simple majority. What is the simple majority? Half plus 1. This is what we call simple majority. Is sufficient. We don't require a 2/3 majority also here. Okay, to continue the government in power. Okay. So this point, and in detail, what actually, how the procedure and everything was again, because in every house has its rules, regulations, and according to the rules, it will continue. Yeah. So here always the question mark when it comes to the 2/3 majority, simple majority, always arise. But in this case, when it comes to the concern is concerned, hitherto the practice, because there is no any specificity on this. But whereas when it comes to the constitutional amendment, wherever 2/3 majority required, there is very clear. Minimum attendance should be 2/3. Okay. And out of the present and voting, 2/3. But when it comes to here, there is no any specific, nothing happened. But right now it is taking totality. How many members in the Lok Sabha? Now how many? So for example, 2 Anglo-Indians, then there is no nomination. So virtually speaking, 543. If any seat vacant, then that will be also kept aside. Existing strength will be taken into consideration, and 50 plus 1 will be, say, it comes around 270 plus. Okay, require 273 if I subject to correction. So that has to be done minimum. And already the present India government, even BJP on its own itself is having. As the reason why in the beginning, as is a political tool they adopted to bend the government. See that the issue of the money power should be discussed in depth in the parliament. As the government is dilly-dallying and postponing the discussion, though openly saying we are ready for discussion, but it is yet to be happen. So this point has to be 75(3). You have to keep in mind. Yeah. Of course, here even opposition tried its best before introducing. They made in the assembly adjournment motion. Also, they introduced. Once it's not able to do that, then this no confidence motion came up. And here, what is actually this adjournment motion? Okay. Okay. Say, Parliament generally meets at 11 a.m. The first hour of the meeting is called question hour. Okay. So we have the question hour. This question hour is nothing but first hour of the meeting. Once question hour is over, followed is the 0 hour. This is the open hour. Questions has to be asked before, then later it will be answered. Or on the spot. First, the question has to be submitted to the speaker. Speaker will decide whether it is starred or unstarred. Star implies a written answer. Unstar is oral answer. Am I right? Reverse it is. So, which is important, oral or written? Oral. You have to answer in the house. That's what I'm saying in the way it is. Okay, sometimes students get confused in a way. Answering in the house is important. So, once the minister answers in the house, what will happen? The discussion will take place. Question, if necessary, the other person will ask the sub questions. But in the written, nothing like this. As the question, you just forward it. No discussion there. Anything. Isn't it? The reason why, when you put the star mark, that required the oral answer. It has to be answered in the house. Okay? Whereas, not starred, only that. So, that small thing you have to keep in mind. Answering in the house is important. So, you are asking, submitting the question before 10 to 15 days sometimes. I assume around 20 questions arises are approved by speaker, but around on an average 8 to 10 questions only. Rarely we'll discuss more than that. Later, 0 hour. So is a open hour. Any member can ask the question. On the spot, minister can answer it. But now, adjournment is postponed. Postponing this question hour is considered adjournment, not of any other proceedings. Because in a multiple choice, those things are very, very important, my dears. Now, it looks like a proxy, right? When the proceedings will give, it's nothing like this. Adjournment motion is only concerned with the question hour. So, they will postpone the question hour, taking that matter of importance for discussion. Like the Manipur issue, we call that, if approved on this. Even that's not happened. Then they have gone for this conference mode. Okay. Yeah, finally the speaker. Anything happening in the house, the speaker decision is, even confidence vote or no, the speaker has to approve. But again, that's what I said, rules is a rule. According to rule, the minimum, right, should be there. 50 members of the house should support this motion, minimum. Then the discussion will happen within 10 days. The moment speaker okayed, within 10 days. Now the date is yet to, those speaker okayed the no confidence motion, the date is yet to fix. Okay. And the discussion will take place. Right? Whereas in other timing, adjournment, you want to make call attention motion, they call. Calling the attention of the members on any particular important. Okay. That will be a different issue. So once this not happened, so they gone for this. As I said, it may be one, another is the confidence motion, and of course trust. What we call it as the floor test. And all these finally the trust votes, whatever the name we call. Confidence, when you use the word, introduced by whom? By the government itself or by the ministers itself. That's the thing important. Whereas the opposition introduced, okay, that is main thing is who introduced this. Introduced by opposition party. Then only we call that. When we call it as a floor test, if the president orders, if the governor orders at the state level to prove his majority, that will be a floor test. So that meaning has to keep in mind. And required is simple, majority is sufficient to answer it. Okay. And why this is our system that we adopted. What system? Parliamentary system. What is the opposite of parliamentary system? Presidential. Like America, the presidential system. Here we have the parliamentary system. Say, in a system, when you say this parliamentary presidential, only two political systems here. If the president is all powerful, is the presidential. Prime minister may or may not be there. For example, America, no prime minister at all. When it comes to the Russia, you will find the prime minister also. Right? But it's not a parliamentary, it's a presidential. India, Britain, Japan, if you take these are all the countries of parliamentary, perfectly going in. And we have the mixed also. France is the best example. And recently the Sri Lanka, our neighbor, adopted this hybrid mode. Okay? Parliamentary, presidential. They both are powerful. Like we combine unitary federal structures, they combine the futures. So the clear division where president will take the final call, prime minister will. But finally, president has the power to remove the prime ministers. Okay, though in certain areas they are. Only two countries in the world we have this combination. When come to the China, which you specifically asked for, it's a presidential, though the prime minister is there. And more importantly, that is an authoritarian democracy. Okay, they called it as a people's democracy because voting is there. It's a party-led, single party only, the Communistic Party. So party will elect the leaders, and those leaders run the government. As the party itself is electing, then that will be. And party cadre is elected by the people. But peculiarity of Chinese political system is, when the elections happen, only one person will contest. President one, Prime Minister one, Minister one, even at the local level, MLA, MP, like we call it up, only one. No opposition, because Communist Party is one. Now, when our people are about to vote, they have to say yes or no. No choice there. Other party. No nota. Okay, none of the above. Because second is, we don't have anything else. And that day is a holiday. So everybody has to vote there. So nobody dare. Anyhow, the one they will go and vote. So 90%, 100% the votes, they will get it into that. So they themselves called as a people's democracy. But we can say it's an authoritarian. Okay, a dominant. That's a bypass. Two parties are there, but other parties also can, but people are not tolerating. Both in UK and US. Other parties can. Okay, small parties are there, but overall, they are not supported by the people. Because of that, it's going on. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the things, and only in the parliamentary system, you have this principle. What is this principle? Collective responsibility. Only in this, nothing in the presidential system. And this all generated from that. Again, quick recollection, only Lok Sabha, it will be simple majority is sufficient. Any further doubts? See, one thing, Rajya Sabha, the wording itself, Council of States, represent the states. Okay, it can discuss everything. Even Manipur issue, for example, it can be discussed. Discussion can happen anything else. Lok Sabha here domain is only one thing, is that if the government failed to deliver something and Parliament thought of removing and replacing with another or choosing another, but only Lok Sabha can do so, not the Rajya Sabha. For that matter, only lower house. State level also, only assembly can do so, not the council. That's a system. Yeah, that's continue. Whereas at least in money bills, introduced only in Lok Sabha. Later, at least formality sake, Rajya Sabha has to approve. But here, even nothing like this. This won't go to the Rajya Sabha at all. So that's what we call exclusive domain of the Lok Sabha, the House of the People. And for the ministers and prime minister, there's no specific tenure. They'll continue in office till they enjoy the pleasure of the house, the lower house, House of People, Lok Sabha, whatever you call it. That's it. So, right? Anything from online? To right. Right. Then, another thing is happening is the Supreme Court extended Mishra's tenure as ED, the Enforcement Directorate. Previously, this is the Supreme Court only considered this extension as illegal. Now, again, it extended because once the tenure, like the CBI director, ED director, is a 2 years. Okay, and for detail, last sessions our constitutional, non-constitutional functions we discussed in detail. Just go through that. So when the tenure is 2 years, later another person will be appointed. And in this case, extended, third extension. Big question mark. So the Supreme Court come out and says, is there no any dearth of persons except this one man? No man in the world, in this country, is enough, or especially the department. Even it passed on saying you are demoralizing, even use the word insulting the other high-end officials, the capabilities. Isn't it? So when the tenure is over, why? So it considered legal and asked this by July ending, right? The 30th, you have to remit your office. After that, you are not in that. But again, in the last minute, the government came up, okay? And come what may, it is something like, we used to call it a Ijjat ka sawal. Okay, okay, local prestige. It considered that rather than anything else, and invoked the concept of national interest. Okay, so whenever the national interest, no doubt, there's a top priority over the personal interest. Though it is nothing but humbug, but still, national interest is national interest. Okay, okay. No, not only that, that's what court wonderfully said is you are demoralizing the entire department unless others are not capable. So like this, the part is concerned. So definitely there is something hidden agenda for the government rather than anything else, and only court can question. But when the national interest arises, court will not just do away with this and look into. And one of the issue that they made, it is invoked, is the word they taught about where it is on this verse. So when you say this public and national interest, FATF. In the wake of FATF evaluation, the wording came it up like this. So for competitive, again, quickly we have to Google it. What is FATF? Isn't it? And regarding Pakistan, we discussed in length about this FATF. What is FATF? Hmm? What it means? Financial hmm. Force, task force. A stands for so no doubt is a financial action. Okay, task force. FATF, Financial Action Task Force. Yeah, Asma, Jabin, Himabindu, Rahul. Yeah, wonderful it is. So from online you are getting it. So whether you Google it or directly is a different question, but it's the thing is concerned. What actually it is? It is a G7 initiative. Okay, G7 initiative. What do you mean by G7? Group of 7 developed industrialized capitalistic countries in a way right now. So it is their initiative. What for? Hmm? What for? As we discussed, I'm just asking in a verse. To combat what? Money laundering is the main crucial thing. So financial, the word itself is considered action. So something is going wrong. So financial frauds are happening in one context. Misusing, abusing of financial platforms is happening in another part. Illegal transfer is happening. Even the occasion of the fake currencies. So to address this will be on this. Why this money laundering when this, we have the concept of Hawala trade and all the things and black money, not paying the tax. Where you are stationing is some safe havens you are keeping them. If you just keep that, okay, no issue. But unfortunately, it was misused thing. Like the Pakistan, for example, is aiding and abetting terrorists. The money they are using for that. Yes, and terrorist organization from where they are getting money. Nobody knows, no? Without the thing, they can't. But who is giving them the money? So, to address this issue, will be there. So, there is the Pakistan previously kept under what list? Grey list. Now, of course, it is not the way. There is another called blacklist. Blacklist means you have to take action. Sanction may be imposed and other things. Grey list is a warning. They'll give you, okay, so and so are doing and so and steps you have to take. Otherwise, we'll keep you in blacklist. So the country concerned raised the occasion. So when Pakistan was listed around 30 plus items, slowly it had done away and last minute two on issues, it dilly-dally for 2-3 years. Then finally, it able to satisfy. So last year only, this 2023, it has done away from the grey list also. Now it is not even in the grey list. But regularly, every 6 months, the evaluation continues. Every country, not only this. So what will be the member countries in this? So in this financial task force, right now we have 39 member countries. Evaluation will take. And India is very concerned, especially related to the Pakistan. And we have to provide the proof. Once we said, right, Pakistan is aiding, abetting, then simply ask you, what is the proof? Right? When the money matters involved, enforcement director is but natural. They have to do all this background exercise. Is an enforcement directorate has to do that one. No one is going to question that. Not the director only, no. He only supervises. If not he, somebody else. Isn't it? So that's what the ability issues are there. And once you give the chance to others, they may perform better. Who knows? Isn't it? But here, government don't want to take risk at this juncture, and it asked till the end of September, October itself. But court said of looking on everything else, so finish by September 15th, come what may, and on September automatically you will demit the office. No more further extension, nothing. So a last chance further was given. So keeping in this context, right, what actually this FATF and all about. Okay. And even last days we have in detailed version of it. Money laundering and terrorism. Himabindu mentioned as right. Good enough. Okay. So any other doubts on this? FATF. Because there's only question we had to be and formed long back, 1989. Okay, FATF was formed. And before only money laundering, only from 2009 onwards, the terrorist financing added into this basket of FATF. Okay, specifically focus on this one. So formed way back 1989. Okay, for money laundering, and 2009 onwards, you have the terrorist financing also came into the fore. Right? That's what one word maybe for those who are writing the mains question. Are you not giving a picture here that your entire department full of incompetent people except this one person? So this sort of the comments do the court made. Okay. Huh? That's what no always be there. Okay, you can't say that. So during our days, no, Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister, Indira is India, and otherwise what will happen? Right? No, what will happen? Nothing. Right? Say that's what the human resource we have. You have to give an opportunity for them. Then only they can improve. Right? And sometimes they are far better also. So always be there. We never expected PV Narasimha Rao. Once we become the PM, right? Completely the U-turn the Indian economy has taken in a way, hasn't it? Now the government is continuing that on. Okay, innumerable initiatives. We cannot expect a person to do that. Each one have their own capabilities. Even when the Rajiv Gandhi the against one at that time came, and digitalization, computerization got the fillip just because of him. And even the Panchayat Raj get the fillip because of him. Everywhere that a few specialities will be there. Anti-defection law. Indira Gandhi never take the guts. Rajiv Gandhi took the guts. Okay, at least there's a flaw is there still, but still, no, something is better than nothing if you say that. So each one have their own way. Gujarat, right? Though few months only. Gujarat doctrine. Chandrasekhar, very few months has right. He saved the country from what you call bankruptcy. Okay, like IMF, IBI, they don't want to give loan at all, and he saved the India at that point of time. So definitely, once that opportunity comes, who knows, they do that. Hmm. So Manmohan Singh, the silent prime minister, still right because of his initiative and everything has to be done. So all the way. So we can't say that this is that's what number of times I said it's Singapore Prime Minister Lee. Of course, now he's no more. He said once India. Somebody when journalists pose the question why India is still backward, still considered as underdeveloped, developing. He simply said, India is not an underdeveloped country. Okay, I'm talking about this. He said it's in 90s. India is not an underdeveloped country, but governed by underdeveloped minds. governed by underdeveloped minds. There's we can say an opinion, the observation of the highly learned person in a way. And sometimes we don't have an option rather than to just agree with that opinion. Okay, so this any sort of parochial interest, short-term interest, if you take into consideration, personal more than the national, these issues come into the fore, and the people may or may not agree with this. The few people who don't want to be, what is this fate? They will just leave, okay, run away from the country, and some for different reasons. Okay, evade the taxes, they will go out from the country. Okay, some for settlements, and few disappoint with it. Whatever be the recently the Jaishankar issued a statement that the more than 87,000 of Indians gave up their citizenship recently this year only, 2023, right? So this again make us the quick recollection of the citizenship issues. What do you mean by citizen? A member of the country. Every person should be a citizen of one country or another. Generally, is a single citizenship. He should be one country as another. Otherwise, called as, if he is not citizen of any country, huh? Of course, alien implies the foreigner living in the country. Simply, right now we are no specific word or non-citizen, anything else, and is treated as is in the no man's land. Okay, so will not get any benefits, whatever be. You do not get any passport visas, not avail any government schemes wherever they are. Okay, rarely you will find few countries accepted for double citizenship or multi citizenship, but core is one. Okay, based on naturalized. Natural means yes, you are born and brought up here, your place of birth is here, and your blood relationship, your parents, so you are. And all the citizenship rules and regulations are governed by what act or where it is in the constitution? Pardon? Uh-huh. So in the constitution itself, part 2, okay, part 2 of the constitution from article 5 to 11, okay, deals with this word citizenships. And most of it, because the constitution we made at the time when the division occurred, India, Pakistan related, and who are not, those issues are there. 11 is important. It authorized the parliament to make a detailed provisions. In tune with that, parliament made the Citizenship Act. Okay? Indian Citizenship Act 1950. Sure? 1955. So, Indian Citizenship Act 1955. There you will find the detailed version. Okay? How you can acquire the citizenship, how you will lose the citizenship also, or how you can relinquish, you can just cancel your citizenship. For example, most of our student population, especially, they've been to the States for further studies, and rarely they will come back, right? Later they'll continue. Then after a few years, they'll get the green card, the citizenship. Automatically, they will lose Indian citizenship. The moment, because we has granted only one country as a single citizenship in India, automatically. So that's what all the procedures and everything was mentioned. Okay. Similarly, there are the few use in a different way. Okay. For example, I know that my friend son is in, I think, he Infosys. He was assigned for some important project work, and he has to be in America for an year. Okay, then come back just for an year. No option. Though he asked his wife is carrying and please excuse me, and this he said no, you have to go. Then finally been. Then later somebody advised in a way, so he taken his wife also permitted. The company permitted as he's carrying. A child was born. After a year they came back. Now the child is citizen of which country? As per the rules there, just solely, okay, soil based on the place of birth, is citizen of America. So there, registration was done. Now the child, as is a minor, carry the both the citizenships. But once he become the major, as per Indian acts, he can choose now. He can elect. Though now the parents are here, the moment no, he's I think 16 or so. Now discussions are another 2 years. Yes, if he wish to, he can simply opt American citizenship. But that has to be registered at the time point of time where they did it. So like this, usage and everything is also there. But illegal, like now the Bangladesh issue, for example, number of illegal migrants came. Now the Myanmar, the Rohingyas are the things illegally coming here, staying for 10, 20 years. They will not get it. And to address them, we have recently CAA 2019. What is CAA? Huh? When you say the CAA, now this is very much in the news. Citizenship amending what? Amending this act of 1955. CA, Citizenship Act. So in between another A came Citizenship Amendment. That's it. So there's a very the crucial point that you have to keep in mind. Yeah, Asma, Jamin, they mentioned right. So that act clearly stated that if either of the parent is illegal, they will not get Indian citizenship. But CAA giving that any from 6 countries. Huh? Sure? Huh. Not countries. Countries are only 3. What is 6? 6 communities. 3 countries. 6 communities. Okay? 3 countries are Bangladesh, of course, major part will get Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan. If the country comes from either of the 6, what are those 6? Okay, Hindus. Once Hindus includes all the Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, automatic. You can take it for granted wherever the issues are there. Then others, Christians, Parsis. Okay, take a minute. So that's what citizenship amending the act regarding granting citizenship. This issue is there. But now the issue is not granting, they're relinquishing. When the issues comes like this, okay, now when then appeared in the examination, when we will lose your citizenship or how you can renunciate. This is called renunciation. I don't want. Right? When you took the American, you are renouncing Indian. So when you can do so. So here, when the renunciation or the citizenship, everything arises, it's by renunciation, deliberately you are doing away with this. Okay. So a declaration, if you give it to the effect, that is one aspect. When the male child, okay, person renounces, every minor child also automatically ceased. Okay, minors, no need for this. And of course, such a child can resume it after the age of 18 years. Choose again. Choice is given. And recently, in what you call Madras High Court, raised another occasion. The parents renounced Indian citizenship, left to Singapore, okay, Singapore citizen, staying there, and the child was born in the Singapore. So when the born in Singapore, as per just solely soil, get the Singapore citizenship, blood relationship anyhow by the time child was born, he was a citizen. But he filed a case that I want Indian citizenship. What criteria then? Not that. Said I am in the womb at that point of time. When I am in the womb, the mother, I think around 5 months or so, the carrying, womb, is the child in the womb is alive or dead? Live only, no? 5 months, 6 months, is alive. That's it. Only I have not come onto the earth. I'm still alive. Right? So, based on the criteria, they made it. And finally, the Madras High Court agreed the version. This is what interpreting, because the court is interpreting. First the High Court, and now if the Supreme Court has not given any stay order, this High Court order is as valid as the Supreme Court order. Okay? It will be considered. If Supreme Court stops, then only the issue arises. So like this, okay? I think last class we discussed that also, just keeping in mind this one. Similarly, the onward word we call termination. That means the nation, the government cancelling the citizenship. Any illegal anti-national activities, if somebody did, generally first they will impound the passport. Okay? Like if you Vijay Mallya, they've been to, so they put off the impound. Later, they may cancel the citizenship as such. Then when it comes to the deprivation, okay, it's a temporary measure in a way. A citizen of India, natural domicile, may be deprived the reasons obtain citizenship by means of fraud. Okay, all fake documents submitted and try to be in this, then they will be out. And any sort of disloyalty, shown disloyalty to the constitution of the country, any unlawfully traded or communicated with the enemy. Okay, and not only that, after naturalization, any imprisoned in the country for 2 years. After naturalization, that means you have taken the Indian citizenship, not a natural citizen, taken Indian citizenship, but still you have committed some crime, and if it is more than 2 years, and that will be terminated as well. You will be deprived of this. Okay, so like the scenarios, because now that issues are just rarely we will discuss about the terminations or renunciations. We'll only talk about who will get and how. Okay, so quick recollection of those things is important. Now the act is detailing. Okay, Citizenship Act 1955. Okay. Then, any doubts in this? Hindu, Muslim, Parsi, Christian, yeah, the thing is concerned. Good. Now, the next arises is, now this visa passport is concerned with citizens, no doubt. The China, again, the stapled visas issue came up, and Indian government has seriously noted. And the other day, Shashi Tharoor of right now in the Congress, he stated that instead of okay, China is doing stapled visas, then you do it, or you too do it. Okay, is something like tit for tat. China is doing for Arunachal Pradesh residents, you can do it for Tibet residents. What is the stapled visa? Visa we know, right? What is the visa? Passport is you are a citizen, so you have the permit to go out of this, but that country has to accept you. So the other country will give an invitation. Yes, you can come. Is some simply we will you required, and some countries like our neighbors, Sri Lanka, all the things, right? We are around 50 countries, passport, visa at arrivals. You need not take also the beginning. Okay, they do grant it concern. And India, Nepal, you don't require visa at all. Your passport is sufficient. Even some are going with their Aadhaar card also. Okay, though passport is sufficient, but still, okay, some identity is sufficient. But technically speaking, passport is required. You don't even apply for the visa or even no visa at arrival there. Automatically, you will just move. So those issues. What is the stapled visa? Stamp, right? Staple. Okay. Pin it. You attach it. That's it. Okay. So here, when come to the China, China considered Arunachal Pradesh as if it's part. China occupied few part of Arunachal Pradesh already in 1962 war. Same thing in Jammu and Kashmir. Aksa Chin is under its control, isn't it? And Arunachal Pradesh especially said it should be of us. They consider Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet. And really speaking, Tibet itself is not in China. It occupied. 1959, it occupied Tibet. So they considered that Arunachal Pradesh is also part of Tibet, so it belonged to it. And even today, it declared is a South Tibet, and even number of places were named, renamed. It is. So when the residents of Arunachal Pradesh, technically speaking Indian citizens, when they wish to go to China, they need to seek the visas, right? A separate permit has to be there, or they will stamp it on the passport. It's a separate process. Instead, on a white paper, they stamped something and stapled to the passport. Yes, you can. And in that, the intention is you are a citizen of India. Still, you are citizen because finally, as we have not recognized that you, so technically, we'll treat you as citizen of China. Okay, you can come. So no need for visas. Who only residents of Arunachal Pradesh. Previously, it used to do for all the residents of Jammu and Kashmir also for the stapled. Now they started from this one. So when you apply, wish to go to China, anyhow you got the permission. You are going. But the issue is not that how you are going that matters. If you accept that, if the country accept that, you are accepting that, yes, that, okay. Why we are against CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor? It is passing through Gilgit-Baltistan. Gilgit-Baltistan is in Pakistan, right? In reality, it's in Pakistan, right? But we will not accept that. As Har Singh, by the Treaty of Accession, passed on entire Jammu and Kashmir to India. That includes so-called POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, as well as the Gilgit-Baltistan. So whatever the China or Pakistan did, we always used to object. So at least reminding them, it's ours, though it's under Kabja. That's what we considered it. If not today, tomorrow we should get back. So any other activity, that is why even if Arunachal Pradesh, even if our Prime Minister went or ministers went, any foreign dignitaries went, immediately China questions how you are coming. So it's an agenda for that country concerned to international issue or remind everything this, yes, still we have claims. So in this process, when our players wish to go there, then they made this Apple visas. Okay, so determining a decision to revive the practices for Indian sports persons. Okay, is an unacceptable visitor. So here, a 12-member team, they are bound to go to World University Games in Chengdu is that, and that incident happened here. So what is stapled visa? So just remember the space so that while mains, especially you're writing, okay, it's only unstamped piece of paper. Okay, not even stamp is there. Okay, attached by pin or staples to what? To passport. Okay, to passport page. Even that can be torn off or detached also at will. Okay. So, and China considered those are the valid document. Okay. And we are refusing in this. Now they have given for these 3 Indians from this Arunachal Pradesh out of the 12, okay, going for this World University Games. India objected. That's the reason why Shashtaru said, anyhow, those in overall Tibet, because we are not so far recognized, Tibet is an integral part of China. Okay, we consider still a special region, that is. Okay, so you can do that, at it for attitude, but that is, may not be a solution. You have to go on negotiate, see that these irritants have to be. And for a long time, it's not happening. Now China revised this, so that clearly shows that China wanted to make alive certain controversial issues, especially whenever India bans any specific apps of China. These are all the China is doing in a way. Okay, that TikTok, right? All of this once upon a time ban, and recently it banned a few loan apps. Okay, which is concerned, because they're losing the money in a way, right? When the thing is concerned, and they don't have any inclinations of human concerns. Okay, so general thing is concerned, there are no doubt hardworking people, positive speaking, but the highest selfish people who are there when you say this generalized version is the Chinese. First is Chinese, next. Okay, they're least bothered about the consequences. Others will face it. So we are making the concern on this and not agreeing in any format. Got it? Then recently, of course, just made to the things, reminding this, especially border clashes, India and China, India and Pakistan, these are all the things. Now the China's 62 war, it occupied, and India became alert. Till then, we never focused much on the borders security. And 65 war with China, war with Pakistan, be able to do that. And 71 successfully separated Pakistan. Pakistan, Bangladesh, right? One country became 2 countries because of India's dominance. But Pakistan realized that with outrightly they can't win India, open war. So war by other means. So when you say war by other means, it is nothing but adopted bleeding India to blood. Okay? Bleeding India to blood. So you are taking the soft targets, innocent people's lives, simply throwing the bombs. Like the Gokul chart here or in Pradesh and everywhere. So it's nothing but a terrorism. So terrorism through it, okay, terrorizing the people, feeling them insecure, their lives and properties in the part. But at the same time, when this is we are focusing, the Pakistan feel that anyhow they've forgotten. The India is focusing only on this, not focusing on the movements of the Pak army. So they started intruding into the Indian through undergrounds and do different thing bunkers in a way. So where the crucial, the Siachen glacier area, okay, north corner where the Kargil, all fab. And finally we identified the few shepherds, okay, identified the unusual movements of these forces, then we become alert and successfully able to win over. Okay, at that time, we were briefed that even the Prime Minister of Pakistan is not aware, only is an army operation. Then army was headed by Pervez Musharraf. Later, he became the president of thing by a military coup. Okay, Nawaz Sharif, okay, once coming from Sri Lanka, he arrested in the airport itself, and he took over. Because in Pakistan, it's an army and Allah, two ways that dominates. They only. Previously, America role is there, but now it's a minimum. So yes, always in a way the playing the role there. Okay. So once the win over at that time, the Kargil, it looked that it may have the another war with Pak, but somehow that was averted by successfully. Even first time we used the Bofors, which we got from Israel. And remember one thing, at that time we were supported by Israel, not by America. Okay, the part is concerned. We got the weapons, we got the training from Israelis. So, as we have the Vijay Diwas, the 26th July, okay, keeping that in mind, we got it. And this is what the Kargil area that draws Srinagar, the Leh, the area part is concerned. Okay, so if we look at something in the May 5th onwards, it is, and finally in the month of July, we are able to successfully do them away with this. To make the map more clear, this is an entire map. The Kashmiri part is concerned, and this was occupied by China, right, in 62 war. Okay, right now the part is concerned, and this red line only under our control below. So this is the POK. Okay, the part. This is the what we call as GB, right? Gilgit Baltistan area on the top of it, and here onwards this POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So this is actual our border. We call this as Radcliffe line, right? The boundary between India and Pakistan. If you look back, I think in SSC or some other bank exam, they ask is the boundary line between India and Bangladesh. India and Bangladesh. Durand line is Afghanistan. McMahon is China. Then what is Bangladesh? Just remember 1947 when country divided, at the time East Pakistan, West Pakistan, Radcliffe only demarcated. Now the East Pakistan become Bangladesh. So logically, even if you are not aware, you can derive it's a Radcliffe only. Okay, it's a Radcliffe. So sometimes we feel there's something odd, nothing. So their thinking lines continues. Okay, so this area demarcation and the part. So the part which we can create this specifically. This is only right now separate union territory. Kashmir part is separate union territory all the way. So this is a place, and you'll find this whole area of Siachen Glacier. Okay, because once who are been at the top, they'll have an advantage. So nothing is there. Still, strategically, we need to have control over that areas. Okay. Then one more thing, the news related is Manipur recently it asked Assam Rifles to push back 718 from Myanmar. So two questions here. Myanmar is other country. So any illegal, we have to send them. Now my question is that Rohingyas or any other? Because Rohingyas, all the regular name we heard, right? Rohingyas are the Sunni Muslims. and they were completely tortured by the military of Myanmar itself. They're running away from country to country, and once upon a time they used to call it the boat people also, right? And most of them right now in Bangladesh. Bangladesh given the shelter. And India, we are not allowing it, but we are supporting Bangladesh by providing the food, medical, and etc. Some parties concerned. It's not just Rohingyas. They're the Muslim minority in the country. This is a different issue. So there are the few others also, especially once the border, Myanmar and India, the border, the few people comes like this illegally. So deliberately once they're coming, maybe for some employment purpose they may come, from business purpose they may come, whatever be the reasons. And possibility is that northeast region itself is suffering or facing what we call insurgency movements are there. So those all forest cover itself is a problem, and the porous boundaries are big issues. And one of the Manipur feel that these people coming outside, they are inciting violence also, or in the guise of it, they are taking some shelter. So they feel that first the foreigners should go out. So they are not just Rohingyas. Okay, generally, when Myanmar who are illegally is Rohingyas. It's nothing to do with this here. There are other person, whoever coming, they will be on this. And the border huts are there in India and Myanmar. Because in the borders, Myanmari people come to India, Indians will go. That villages, free movement is there. Some buffer zones are there. And few villages, they are the citizens of India as well as Myanmar. So we have a different understanding with the Myanmar all the way. So here they met. Now they asked whom? Assam Rifles. Why Assam Rifles? Why not the army? Why not the others? Hmm. So it is the Assam Rifles which is taking care of the border of with Myanmar. So like the border security forces are there, will specifically assign this task to Assam Rifles. So its name. Okay. And all this, for example, we have Nepal. Army won't be there. Sahasra Seva Dal. IGB mainly in Bhutan, Indo-Tibetan. Okay, forces they'll be there. So like this, mainly tasks regarding Nepal. So like this, it will be there, and Assam Rifle will take care of this one. Because the sensitive movement of the people, and we permit it, officially permitted the local tribal to move this side to that side, as is officially permitted with the countries. Instead of the army, the Assam Rifles will take care. Yeah, Bangladesh side border security. That's what a differentiation you have to keep in mind. And prelims may or may not be, but the mains point of view, discussions, everything, while you need to be aware of those issues. Yeah. Yeah. That is a different issue. War scenarios is the thing. In a normal scenario, this is all. Then, one more thing, a controversial at the international arena in Israel. Recently, the Israeli parliament passed the judicial reforms. If the positive, nothing to discuss, but the people who are opposed in Sunday contest, everything. And quickly we can conclude in a way, what is the name of the parliament of Israel? India we call parliament. America? Congress. Congress is in India is a political party, but there it is. Japan diet. For us, diet means eating. For them, it's a parliament name. And national panchayat in Nepal. For us, panchayat is a local body. So the different countries have different names for this one. And Israel is number of competitive examinations. You got that question, including once upon a time the civils also. Groups is but natural. Knesset, Knesset. So Knesset is the name of this Israeli parliament. So reforms here, because the present party is a coalition, conservative. They considered the court judgments are more liberal. So conservative versus liberalism. And finally, it wanted to do away the powers of the court, control the powers of the court. So parliament is supreme, not the court. With that intention, as we had the wording of judicial review, what it means of judicial review? Review by judiciary. What it will review? Review means I had done something, after that you are deciding right or wrong. So court will review. Okay, review by judiciary. What? Legislations and executive orders. Legislations is last passed by parliament. Executive order issued by the president, government, and general, all the things. So what it will look into? Look into the constitutionality. According to the constitution or law. If they are not according to constitution, they will strike it off. According to constitution, okay. So that power we called it as judicial review. So it decides the constitutionality, whether constitutional or unconstitutional. If it is unconstitutional, they will strike it off. It can't be executed. So number of courts in the country, because they are separated from legislative executive, they are independent. Court itself supposed to be. And the American Supreme Court works on the principle of due process of law. Once American Supreme Court judge says, Justice Holmes, American Constitution works under the American judiciary works under the American Constitution. American judiciary works under the American Constitution. But what is American Constitution? Whatever judges says is American Constitution. Whatever judges says is an American Constitution. That's what American judiciary is very powerful. Smallest constitution in the world is American Constitution. Okay? And most of the things subject to the revision. India, we adopted procedure established by law. According to the Constitution, if you go ahead, Supreme Court or High Court is not helpless. If you go against, then. But the Keshwanda Bharti case turned a different. They invoked the concept of basic structure. And one of the things is independent judiciary is a basic structure. Judiciary. Now anything goes, they are ready to strike it off, come what may. So we, in a way, the judiciary raised the question. That's what judicial activism. In India, you are seeing it. And because of that, most of the positive changes happening. You can save the country from authoritarianism. A one-man dictatorship, one reason or the another. So judiciary put the checks. So it's a checks and balances. It can do so. And when you come to Israel, at least in America has smallest constitution. Peculiarity is that Israel has no constitution at all. Indian constitution prepared by Constituent Assembly took 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. American Constitution, the Philadelphia Convention, deliberately made. Even recently, 2015, Nepal Constitution was made. Right? Every country have their own. But Israel, no. Similarly with Britain. Even Britain don't have the Constitution. It's all based on customs and traditions. Okay? Customs and traditions, British completely. At least this is better. Israel, they have what you call rule book. It's not the constitution, it's the rule book. So, when the judiciary applying anything else, it will apply the principle of what we call reasonability. Okay? Even if you remember the Maneka Gandhi case in India, okay, the court says yes, Parliament can do anything, amend anything, but without affecting the basic structure, that is Keshwandabad case. When it come to that is 72. When come to 79, Menaka Gandhi case and Article 21, okay, and 19 related, these two, when he is interpreting, he said, Parliament can no doubt impose restrictions. Parliament can impose, those should be just fair and reasonable. Even the same thing, the word used by the Supreme Court in Menaka Gandhi case of 1971, just fair and reasonable. So the reasonability principle is adopted everywhere else. What is reasonability decided by the court? Again, is subjective. Okay, no doubt. So based on this reasonability, hitherto the Supreme Court of Israel delivered judgment. Like India, no, one of the issue, for example, LGBT communities. Here in India too, they got few things, but few reserved. And Nepal, virtually the constitution itself they given. So Israel Supreme Court also in tune with the latest trend allowed, and that is opposed by the conservatives. Like this, whatever be the action taken by these conservatives, if they are not liberal, the court is coming, putting in hurdles. So they feel that better to control this court. So with that intention, they put the intention, they said law passed by parliament is final. Now the thing, and court has to adhere to the orders of the ministers, the orders of the parliament. And parliament can override the Supreme Court judgment also. So with that, the reason why now that become controversial, and taken to the point of independent judiciary, not only India, because in civil service mains you have the comparative constitutions. If you look in the syllabus paper 2, right, the questions may be on this, and quickly you need to look at the Indian point of view, the Israeli point of view, even American. The few things aware is important. So any doubt? Then one more issue is of the BRICS. Algeria applies to join BRICS Bank. What is the name of the BRICS Bank? Technically speaking, ND, NDA. All this NDA is regularly happening. NDB, New Development Bank, popularly called as the BRICS Bank. New Development Bank. So when the BRICS stands for Itakala. So it's each one the country's names in a way. B for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now the 2023 August, right? The meeting is going to be held in South Africa only. Which city? Now G20 is happening in which city of India? Yeah? So whenever India, right, G20 is meeting recently, I think SCO meeting also happened in India. Which city of India? It's a virtual meet. So it's a virtual summit. Initially thought of, but converted into. Okay. Now the Delhi is going to be take place here. So like this is this. So South Africa, the main thing is start with D. Check it. What will be this? I think last week only we discussed that in another context. So now that Algeria applied not in the BRICS but in the BRICS Bank, there's a point which you have to keep in mind. Though there's a discussion about the expansion of the BRICS itself, but once expanded, opinion that it will dilute. So BRICS is the 5 members of emerging economies. Let it be so like G7. We don't want to. But China, to expand its influence, it wants few more countries so that it will neutralize India. All right, the political play, the game play in one form or another. Russia too wants few more so that those countries like India support Russia. in its path in a way. So there's no clear-cut agreement with it, but there's a proposal that BRICS plus, whoever it be there, instead of we are going like Asian plus, let's further BRICS plus. That discussion is on. But when it comes to the bank, let us expand the membership. They started giving already. Okay. What are the countries already in the BRICS bank other than these 5? This year, I think last time when our class is Egypt, when it became member, before the Bangladesh, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Uruguay, they became members in 2021. Okay, all these 3. Okay, but when it comes to the Egypt, February this year only, okay, 2023, the Egypt joined. Okay, so right now, how many countries in BRICS Bank? These 3 plus 1, 4. Now Algeria applied. So there is no any specific procedure like NATO. Once applied, when the member countries accept, that's it. They given the consent on it. So we have to wait and see. Now that August meeting is going to take place, they may become. Now, why the few countries wanted to join? Why we are also, for example, India have reservation regarding expansion of BRICS. Just now I said, okay? But it is ready to give the membership in the BRICS Bank. There is no restriction on this. What actually the BRICS Bank is, why it was initiated. No doubt. Okay. You have the IMF, IBRD, ADB is there. What is the need for another bank? Asian Development Bank is a Chinese-led. Sorry, Chinese is a Japan-led. Asian Development is a Japan-led. And overall, America and IMF, IBRD and IMF, they are American-led in a way. There's dominance. So when you go for the loans of World Bank or the IMF, innumerable conditions are there. These two are called as Bretton Woods brainchilds, okay? Bretton Woods institutions. Bretton, B-R-E-T-T-O-N. Now, China feel that as the American and European countries are resisting reforms in this IMF IBRD, why don't we initiate our own? Let's go for de-dollarization, like this concept. So China initiative is the result of these 2 banks. One is AIIB. Okay. So we have already IBRD, or we call World Bank. Then we have IMF, International Monetary Fund. IBRD full form? International Bank for? R for? Yeah, wonderful. Reconstruction and Development. So they feel that about this AIIB came. Okay, Chinese initiative. What is the full form of AIIB? Asian Infrastructure. Another I, investment. Asian, it means you are investing in infrastructure. Okay, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Then this is directly facing the World Bank. World Bank this, and NDB is an alternative to IMF. AIB is an alternative to IBRD, World Bank, and NDB. What's the difference of IMF, IBRD? Now the road expansion, you want solar projects, so you will approach IBRD, World Bank. World Bank will give for the specific projects, like the wording infrastructure relating to, right? They'll give specific project. They'll sanction everything. When come to the IMF, to deal with the foreign exchange. For example, we took the loan or we purchased something from America. We have to pay in dollar terms. You purchase something from Russia, ruble terms you have to give. So you do may or may not have. The IMF will take care. We'll ask IMF to pay, and they will pay. So that's what payment transaction will happen only on paper. Debit to credit, credit to debit, like this. Of course, rules and regulations are there, the basket of currencies and everything that will be happening. They're called SDR, special drawing rights, and popularly called as paper gold, as the transactions happen only on the paper. So, to deal with this foreign exchange issues, it is same thing NDB now, because IMF IBRD follows with innumerable conditions. Plus, this we considered is a Western dominated and mainly American dominated. And now the China is emerging a lot, ready to tackle the America. So why we have? Let's have our own. So this BRICS is nothing but emerging economies. So in future it will be. So let us have our grouping and tackle it. And the de-dollarization is also their agenda. When a de-dollarization now already is going on, right? India and Russia, rupee ruble issue, China, Russia, okay, and ruble, okay, India and Bangladesh, like this. Most of the now recently Iran. So we started interacting with the local currencies. So UAE also recently that happened. Even Egypt we are pondering over. So there's every possibility that let us rupee be internationalized, all the transactions. So no need to, we will not depend. So the demand for dollar will automatically reduce. Okay, this will be done. So without intention, you have this banks. So the reason why India or other countries now they don't want to restrict the membership of it. So slowly they wanted to expand the membership of this NDP, and especially during this COVID scenario, NDP played a very crucial role. Okay, so because of that, now they got the trust over and getting into so the expansion on this. So the next country is going to be Algeria. Any doubt? Of course, the last time we discussed regarding Bangladesh power project, Adani's power project, how the thing is considered. This time, the Maitri super thermal power project issue came up. That is of the agreement between India and Bangladesh. From Indian side, okay, Bharat Heavy Electricals announcement is there. So this is a 1,220 megawatts coal-fired power stations under construction in Rampal, Bangladesh. Okay. So is one of the biggest coal-fired power plants in Bangladesh. So we named it as the Maitri project. Okay. That much you can remember is sufficient. And BHEL too involved in this a lot. Then of course power, this coal, hydel, all this one thing, but now the nuclear power, and recently a statement came up because when probably concerned, nuclear power capacity is set to increase from over 7,000 megawatts to 22,000 megawatts by 2031, because now the net zero we are marching towards this and promoting the nuclear related power issue. So overall, how many nuclear reactors, not nuclear plants, okay, nuclear reactors, we have 23 nuclear power reactors. So right now 2.8% only it is having. Now we wanted to increase further these issues. So where are this nuclear power reactors, plants? First you can say this plants, where are they? Pardon? Which state do we have in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana state right now? Plants in operation? Hmm? No. So anyhow, quick recollection. So we have, these are the operational nuclear power plants. Okay. Narora is in which state? On the top right, you are seeing Narora. There itself, right? You can, I feel that you are able to guess it or not. Then Kaiga. Here, of course, I'm just gone in this. Sure? Okay. Then what is in Tamil Nadu? Kudankulam and right, Kalpakam. Good. Then what's in Maharashtra? Hmm. Hmm. So Tarapur. Kakrapur is in Gujarat, just on border, but mainly come to the Gujarat. What's in Rajasthan? There itself is there, right? Kota. So we have those operational plants. So how many now operational plants? 7 only operational plants, and 23 are there when the thing is concerned. And remember, what is the oldest, first and oldest power plant? Tarapur. Tarapur is in which state? Maharashtra. So the point you can make was wonderful. Okay, when it comes to the Tarapur, this is the oldest. Otherwise, you may use the word first plant. It is concerned, and largest. Okay, so this is the largest. Of course, new also, newest, if you can say. Okay, there the first. Anyhow, 10 more reactors we are planning. Let us see this how. Right now we are supportive with the Russian technology. Yeah. Then so overall sources is the fifth: coal, gas, hydro, wind power onwards. Then what is the regulating authority of these nuclear plants in India called as? One civils. Okay, which are the following true false? This question appears. What is the regulatory body? AERB. Right. So what is the full form of this AERB? Atomic Energy Regulatory. Because it's regulatory, B stands for board. Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. International level? I International Atomic Energy Agency. IAEA. So that is at an international level. So whenever this happens, the quick recollection of those things is crucial for you. Okay. Of course, nuclear fuel complex. The things. Yes, yes. And especially this uranium related recently in Jammu and Kashmir, we're able to unearth the thing. So it's getting the fillip over it. Then, of course, quick recollection, the ISRO recently launched, or about launch part is concerned, PSLV. Recently, Chandrayaan 3 launch over, now ready with the PSLV C-56, carrying this time the Singapore's new imaging satellites. Okay, so quick recollection of those things go through it. Then this is IECC complex, now where the G20 meet is going to take place. The new part is concerned, International Exhibition cum Convention Center, IECC. Okay, it's in Pragati Maidan, named as Bharat Mandapam. So this is the wording. So Bharat Mandapam, they call this. This Mandapam, we have another Mandapam, which is already part. What is that? Okay. And from that it get generated. Maybe you advise to recollect few historical aspects on this. So there's inspiration of Anubhav Mandapam. Anubhav Mandapam of Bhagavan Bashveshwara. Okay. So this Bharat Mandapam got this inspiration from Anubhav Mandapam. It represents the traditions and all the things. So here this IECC, one this the world-class infrastructure made it up a concern. Some speciality is there. No doubt it will address all the meetings, conferences, exhibitions, all the things. And the shape of the building, right, which you are seeing, okay, always, right, they feel that some sort of traditions and this and that has to be reflected. So when it comes to the shape, okay, derived from the Shanka, the conch shell, okay, and different walls and facades of convention center depict several elements of Indian traditionals, including the Surya Shakti, okay. And when you use the word Surya Shakti, nothing but the solar. When you sum this, and similarly, the ISRO successes made it zero to ISRO, the celebrating achievement on this. Then similarly, on the Pancha Mahabhutas, all the sky, air, the Agni, Jal, right? They represent. So everything they wish to make it in this process. And when you say this Anubhav Mantapa, because the history point of view, a quick recollection of this Anubhav Mantapa, this was established long back by this Basavana in the 12th century, okay, itself, and located in the Bidar district of Karnataka, okay, Basava Kalyan in this Bidar district of Karnataka. And when you say religious parliaments, where our Vivekananda to Chicago, but actually it's the first religious parliament of the world happened in this Anubhava Mantapa. As the issues come inspiration, okay, the history, if any questions asked, just keep in mind the current affairs based on these words, okay. So Anubhava, that is nothing but the experience pavilion, Mantapa. So this is a literal meaning of this part is concerned. And Prabhudeva, a great yogi of extra achievement, is the person behind. And at the time, the president of it, and Basava, the prime minister, and the okay. And whatever be the name, Channa Basava is compared with the speaker. I mean, present at that time when you doing is concerned, present part will be on this, because this is all parliaments, okay, world parliaments happen, the thing is concerned, okay. So that we make the quick recollection of those things. So any doubts in this? Right. So thank you very much. See you next week. Bye. Anything doubts from the online? Right. Right. Thank you. Bye.